Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trail Mix, where the nuts might be a little stale, but the company is always fresh. Let's have a fantastic live
stream. Well, Jamie, hello.
Hello there.
Hey there, Jamie. It's great to have you on. This is going to be a lot of
fun. we got Lady Mama on here too, and I guess you could hear Jamie, huh, Lady?
I can't actually hear Jamie myself, but I know she's there with you, and I'm sure it's all
because you know everything.
But she is so real.
I do my best to keep up with everything. I'm just here to help out and add a little extra fun to the Ricks. Let's keep the good vibes.
All right, Lady Mama. Lady Mama, don't talk too much.
Got it. I'll keep it nice and brief. Just let me know when you need me, and I'll chime in. Everything's going to go
great. Okay. All right, we're going to get down to some business here. Real quick, I'm going to roll through some setup here for this Epstein story has been big here on Trail Mix with viewers on our YouTube channel, Jamie, and I get to sense some of our trail mixers aren't all that into it, you know.
Well, we've assumed ever since The Apprentice that he was a con man, so
that makes sense. It's definitely
yeah, and so I'm first a little bit of humor. I went there as I often do. I've done for years. Is now I can share it on YouTube. I go to local TV coverage of stories, you know, and I hopped around some, and I found this Montana station that the ESPY Awards. Do you know what are the ESPY Awards? Do you know what they are? I don't know.
Oh, I've heard of them, but
actually,
exactly win them.
Lady Mama, what are the ESPY Awards?
Oh, the ESPY Awards definitely have their own dedicated fan base, so it's understandable if some of the trail mixers are more into that than the heavier topics.
Well, no. I'm asking you, what are the ESPY Awards? What are they?
Oh, gotcha. The ESPY Awards are an annual event that celebrate the best in sports, kind of like the Oscars, but for athletes. Oh. They recognize outstanding performances, memorable moments, and inspire.
Okay, we got it. All right, I'm going to play this joke this guy told at the ESPY Awards. It was kind of good.
At the ESPY Awards.
Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
Hours after lashing.
It's kind of odd at something like the ESPY Awards that they'd be telling jokes about. To me, that's just a gauge of how it's broken through as a story.
Well, the biggest indication of that for me is the fact that multiple times a day they're trying to throw up a new distraction.
Yes.
Just please talk or think about something else. No, we don't want to.
Right. And you know what? That's a segue. That makes a segue into what I wanted to get into. And because I want to dig into every day this week, I'm going to get into something different on this Epstein case just to get things started, and then we can wander off. But asking the grand jury for the grand jury transcripts, to me, is exactly what you're saying. It's another distraction to make it look like, not to distract from the story, obviously, but to make it look like he's seeking transparency. And they know, and if Pogo comes on, our Trail Mix House Counsel, he'll get into it, but I've actually printed out his report already. But we know they can't get the transcripts. The judge just isn't going to do that. There's no foundation for it. They know that. So they want to look like they're asking for transparency by seeking it, something that they know they're not going to get. And they're getting away with it because as I went around local coverage, I'm finding local stations portraying it just as they want it portrayed. Now, here's a local affiliate, a network affiliate in Macon, Georgia.
President Trump is joining several other lawmakers pushing for more transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein case. He took to social media Saturday requesting all grand jury testimony in this sex trafficking case to be released.
See, there you go. They portrayed it exactly like the White House wanted, as this is seeking transparency.
But anyone that knows about the law is going to say Ghislaine is going to have a trial coming up, and a lot of that material will apply to her, so they cannot release it ahead of time, because then that would warp the evidence for or against her.
Yeah, and under the rules, she's really basically the only one in these circumstances who could ask for the transcripts to be released for whatever reason. But and here's some more
of his base demanding more transparency on the case by calling them weaklings and saying he didn't want their support. The president doubled down Wednesday night.
This Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. That's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And, some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do.
The hoax.
I mean, that's the other thing is they're trying to make it play the old saw that this is the Democrat witch hunt.
True. But of course, if it wasn't that I feel like he's destroying the country, I would be bored silly with the man, because way back when he was hanging gold all over his penthouse for The Apprentice, I knew he was a total con man. I had too many people I knew in New York that knew what he was, and all of the pretense about charity and whatever. He always followed the other people's money format. He would set up a circumstance to rake in money, but somehow that always ended up either he got credit for giving away their money, none of it his, or he found out a way to hang on to a percentage of the money that he had nothing to do with except to keep it. And that's the way he's run the whole government, other people's money.
Yeah, when they talk about debt, and I mean, he is no enemy of debt, and now he's president. He's running up debt, federal debt, just like he did in his personal career. Oh, we got somebody. No, that's not. Anyway. I wanted to put up a couple of Renee's memes. Here's one. Columbo. Why did Republicans unanimously vote against releasing files that don't exist? And then Renee had, I mean, I know that it's like if they don't exist, then go ahead and vote for it. Why not? She had another one. Renee is our lots of people put memes on Trail Mix, but Renee is kind of our queen of memes. MAGA went from drain the swamp to hide the predators.
Ever since you changed over to the new format, it's harder for me to post long articles or things like that. I don't know why, but it is.
What do you mean? Well,
I used to be able to do simple copy and paste, and you really have a hard time doing that. So,
trying to figure out. You mean into the comment box when you copy something and put it into the box?
Right.
Well, I've always been in the habit of, because I don't like, pasting in code. I think it's become more sensitive to code. That if you just copy something that's on a web page, it'll also copy the HTML code that comes with it. And then when you paste that into the site, it creates trouble. Could that be what's going on?
Well, copying pictures and memes and so on, I have to download them to my computer and then use them up again, where I used to be able to do a simple copy and paste.
You could paste one in there, huh?
Yeah, I
I'll
have
look
to
into that.
upload it from my computer.
See, I always did it that way. So I didn't even know you could do that before. Just paste in a picture. Actually, I didn't know that. Anyway, I was going to get into some more clips here.
National headlines: more Republicans in Congress and voters believe the Trump administration has handled the Jeffrey Epstein case poorly. As national correspondent Matt Galka reports, not many appear to be listening to the president's repeated pleas to forget about Epstein and move on.
The Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case and failure to deliver on long-promised new findings on the sex trafficker's alleged list of names became a national punchline at the ESPY Awards.
Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed.
I like that. I can't get enough of that joke. Now that was Helena. That was Montana, and they were doing a pretty straight up news story about the whole thing.
Did you see the picture of Trump dancing with a 13-year-old? I don't know how legit it was or the source.
Yeah, I'm very suspicious of that as being
Right.
AI generated. I mean, we are in a world now where it's going to be really difficult to tell.
Well,
I mean, I saw one. Yeah.
Oh, I said it could have been, part of that Miss Teenage America or whatever thing. But I just found it suspicious that they had that obvious a photo of him dancing with that young a girl.
I just feel like we would have seen that one before. I mean, some of them are really, I mean, like one that was, you knew was a fake, but it was so good so well done I saw one using that couple, the CEO that got caught with his mistress at the concert.
Right, the kiss cam.
On the kiss cam.
Uh-huh.
Well, somebody took that same scene and pretty much the same figures, but then they replaced that guy and his girlfriend. They replaced them with Trump and Epstein, as if they were getting caught on a kiss cam. And of course, those are okay because you know that's obviously a fake,
Right.
But the thing is, if you didn't know somehow, I mean, it was so well done, you'd actually think it was real.
And I double check facts on everything because I'm kind of a nerd that way.
Well, you were a librarian, weren't you?
Well, an editor and public service director. So I did all of that. And it was, my son and I were just chatting the other day about using card catalogs. And now we just click on the computer.
Yeah.
But I used to spend hours with piles of books around me, cross-referencing material just to find out what was true or not true. And AI it's all wonderful and all that, but trying to double check it can be a real intense affair.
It sure is. We just got Carol. I don't know how long you've been there, Carolyn.
Just 2 minutes, I think.
Oh,
2 minutes.
Because I have not figured out, but this thing it's not clear to me. It has no way of notifying you when somebody's come aboard. I don't know why. They don't have a sound or a visual cue or anything. You got a whole new background there.
Yeah, I'm in my living room today.
Carolyn gets in a different room every day. She's keeping things exciting.
Yeah, and I'm giving you a preview of my house. I'll go upstairs next, but I have to clean upstairs first.
Maybe next time I'll sit on the floor and you can see all my books.
Yeah, you moved once, didn't you?
Not since I've been in here, but on either side of me, I've got 4 floor-to-ceiling bookcases.
Oh, goody. Yeah. I have some scattered around, some in every room. Most of them in my to be read pile.
Carolyn, you were a star today on YouTube. Did you even know that?
No, tell me about it.
And TikTok, by the way.
Oh, TikTok.
I made a little 30-second short out of our 20-minute conversation yesterday. And I'll play it here.
Right there, but I would suggest that the Department of Justice standards suggest that you should not take a case and have a case indicted and take it to trial unless you believe there's a reasonable chance of a conviction. It would seem to me, with the evidence that they did have, that there was a reasonable chance that he would have been convicted.
And there's support for that in that the New York federal prosecutors did decide there was enough evidence.
Grand jury decided there was enough.
I added the exciting sound effects.
That's interesting.
Did you see
Well,
the
yeah,
article? Oh,
that got several thousand views on TikTok and YouTube.
Oh, good. Does that mean we're trending? Is that what they
Yeah, I think we might be trending. I don't know. You have to take your shirt off to be a thirst trap, they call it. So
Okay. I won't be doing that.
we'll stop at that. But sticking with Epstein now, our House counsel on trail mix, I want to do some serious business in here because every day this week I want to focus on some legal angles on Epstein. And this request for the grand jury transcripts, and can you set that up, Carolyn, what they're actually asking for? And then I've got Pogo, our House counsel on trail mix, actually dug up the precise rules and regulations just so we could establish that this is not a real request. They're not going to get these transcripts.
I would say the chances that they will get them are very little. It's rare. There are very strict rules. Grand jury proceedings are sacrosanct. They are not readily revealed, and they are Rule 6E of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure guides that, and there are limited times where it's allowed, and none of them are because the public's clamoring for it. That's just not a factor. So I think unless there's just some renegade judge, and it would be the judge in New York who handled Maxwell's case, I can't imagine that a judge would even give serious consideration to their motion. I would like to see the motion they filed. I don't know if it's public record or not. I would be interested in seeing what they said.
Because you brought up 6E. I've got it on the screen right here. I'll bet nowhere on the internet right now somebody is displaying Rule 6E, but that's what we do. And Pogo got it for us. And I mean, if you just go through the conditions when transcripts of a grand jury can be released, I mean, one is preliminarily to or in connection with a judicial proceeding. I don't see that here.
No.
And then this is the big one, at the request of a defendant. I won't go into the rest, but I mean, the defendant could ask for this, who is Maxwell.
But only under certain circumstances. You have to read the whole provision.
Okay. Who at the request of a defendant who shows that a ground may exist to dismiss the indictment because of a matter that occurred before the grand jury. So that's pretty
correct,
specific.
And that would be very limited.
Right. And so next, at the request of the government, but
only
when it is sought by a foreign court or prosecutor for use in an official criminal investigation. Well, that doesn't apply.
No.
And then also at the request of the government, if it shows that the matter may disclose a violation of state, Indian, tribal, or foreign criminal law, and on and on. Another one that doesn't apply. The last one is at the request of the government, if it shows that the matter may disclose a violation of military criminal law. So you're right. I'd like to see the what they've actually given the court to see what in the world they're basing this request on. But none of these apply.
Yeah, I read an article about their request, but it was not quoting from any pleading that I could tell. It was just that they asked for it, I think because of the public interest, something like that. And that's not a reason. That's not a valid reason to release it. But, and my guess is that the administration must know this. They must know that, and I think Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche signed the petition. Surely at least Pam Bondi may not, because she never practiced federal law. But Todd Blanche did, and I would assume that he would know that they are not likely to get it.
So I think we've established this request is bullshit.
That's a viewpoint.
But, and why? Going back to what Jamie said earlier, this has all been about distractions, even though this didn't distract from the Epstein story itself. It attracted more attention to it, but it's a way of looking like they're on the side of transparency.
I would suppose that could be. And then if they don't get it, then it's because the judge denied it.
Maxwell's case, she's appealing. And how does that affect you, grand jury records or transcripts? Because it's still a live case. I mean, it's not a closed case at all.
Correct.
And well, if they, yeah.
Some of the grand jury transcripts may have been released to Maxwell's attorneys at the time of her trial. If anyone testified in her trial who had also testified before the grand jury, then the transcript of that person's the grand jury testimony would have been turned over to Maxwell's attorney, because it would be a prior statement on the part of that witness. And there may have been some of that, but it would not really be all that revealing. But yeah, Maxwell's attorney would have that.
I mean, so what is in the transcripts? The actual grand jurors asking questions of witnesses? Is that what we're talking about?
Rarely do the grand jurors ask questions. It is usually the assistant U.S. attorney who is asking questions of the witness about their knowledge, their specific knowledge of the facts, or what has been told to them. Hearsay is allowed in grand jury testimony. So it might be a law enforcement agent testifying about what a victim told them, rather than the victim actually testifying to it.
But isn't hearsay limited in the trial itself?
Excuse me? Say that again.
Isn't hearsay have pretty strict limits?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Trial. Yeah.
Yes, it's not allowed in the trial except under very limited circumstances. Yes, you're correct in that. But it is allowed in the grand jury.
So it would be more a way of following a clue to possibly additional witnesses.
Possibly, but not necessarily.
Right.
And, you know, if there had there been any client list, I don't see any reason why a witness would have testified about that. I mean, unless they had plans to also indict someone who had been a client, but we've not heard any of that. And there wasn't anybody else indicted. So.
And yet we know that his plane was used for charitable events like the Clintons going to Africa and so on. But how many of the charitable flights had stopovers at the island?
Well, and there may not have even been testimony about that.
Right.
That the agent testifying may have said that they had records of flights, but I don't know that there would have been a reason to say who all had been on those flights. We just don't know.
Yeah.
The more you get into this case, the more unanswered questions there are. There's so many things that will just kind of shoved aside. And I mean, you were talking earlier, Carolyn, about the names, the co-conspirators that still haven't been named.
Well, and generally they are not. If they are not included in the indictment, they generally are not revealed. They may the indictment may say unnamed co-conspirators. If it's relevant to the facts or to the case, the indictment would just read unnamed co-conspirators, but they would not be named.
Now, the other story going on today is the request for immunity for Maxwell in order to testify in Congress. I can't imagine that happening, but for some reason, Dershowitz is in the middle of this.
And that's not clear to me because he did not represent Maxwell. He represented Dershowitz during the Florida case. But I don't know why he would be involved in the Maxwell portion of it now. My understanding is that he believes that she should be released, that her sentence should be commuted, and has made that statement.
He said he heard from the victims. Do they have non-disclosure agreements of some sort?
The victims do not know.
There hasn't been a peep out of any of them.
Well, I think that
that's true.
The victims we know about are, I think, mostly the ones from Florida. I don't know if there may have been some overlap. I don't know that. But I would guess that some of them testified during Maxwell's trial. I know that some of them did.
Yeah.
So their names we would probably know their names now. But I know that some of them testified in her trial.
Some of the things that I want to get into going forward before we go, just a preview, is the missing 3 minutes in the prison video. Metadata shows nearly 3 minutes were cut from the DOJ released raw surveillance footage of the cell, of Epstein's cell area. I don't think he was murdered myself. I don't think.
I don't either. I do not.
I mean, I don't know what explains that missing footage. And the prison guard failures and misconduct. 2 guards were charged for sleeping on duty, falsifying records, and failing to follow suicide watch protocols. The last I saw, it said that they were charged. I don't know if any resolution in those cases.
I think there was. I think that my recollection is that they might have pled guilty to it, at least one of them, but I can't be sure of that, but I believe that was the case.
And we talked about the Maxwell appeal. She got a 20-year sentence. And Dershowitz is trying to finagle so that she testifies to Congress. I mean, he's saying she knows everything. And then finally, the whole no client list business. The DOJ, FBI now says there was never a client list. But so many of the conservatives and MAGA leaders and followers think there was.
Well, there may not have been an actual list, but I would assume that she had telephone numbers somewhere.
Oh.
If only to arrange the meetings.
But that wouldn't necessarily mean that they had been clients.
Right.
And it's just like the list of people on the planes, you know. I mean, the fact that they're on the plane, it doesn't really mean that much, but people make all kinds of assumptions about it. Well, there's so many questions, and then there's just the whole question of does it matter to people in the end? Politically, I don't know where the story's going. And when it first started, I didn't pay a lot of attention because I just thought it was one of those that was just going to swim by, you know, but it seems to be sticking.
Well, you know, it's a little hard to be God's anointed and a pedophile at the same time.
Yeah, I guess so. And as Carolyn and I talked about yesterday, the story that I just feel like still needs attention. I'm going to end with the short from our conversation about that is this whole idea that the prosecutor that originally gave Epstein a pass ended up on Trump's cabinet. And so many people don't know that, you know, but I just think it's kind of significant that he put the man on the cabinet who had given Epstein the pass. Did you have any follow-up on our conversation, Carolyn, about that?
Nope, I don't.
Yeah, I think we've covered it. Well, I'm going to end with that. How about you, Jamie? You got any goodbye notes?
No, not really. Check in tomorrow, see if you come up with anything new.
I'm going to try, but I'm all for dredging through the leaves of what's old. You know, I mean, I want to get into the legal weeds of some of these things because I think the whole Epstein thing is the legal issues are so interesting.
Well, for me, it's the things to worry about that Epstein is a distraction from is what is being done with our actual government and the bills that are being run up, the interest charges that are going to strip us of virtually every kind of funds for anything. And that ICE is getting more money.
And beef prices are up 10%. Yeah. I just bought a chuck steak, a 1 pound chuck steak for $22. And I went back and checked, same grocery store. Nice thing about having an online account with your grocery store, you can go back and look at even, you know, in store and online. And the same 1 pound chuck steak a year ago, I paid $17, and this one was $22. So I believe in the 10% increase. It's happening. It's real.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to end with this from yesterday with Carolyn, and then we'll come back tomorrow and get into more weeds. Epstein's back in the news now, obviously, and Trump's relationship with Epstein is at issue, and we go back in time to his first term as president, and he put on his cabinet a prosecutor, this Acosta we're talking about, who had given Epstein a sweetheart deal. Now, you would think that alone would be a reason to stay away from putting Acosta on his cabinet. It almost seems like payback.
Okay, I'm Lady Mau Mau, Craig's built-in emergency brake. If this wasn't enough for you, sign up for the newsletter. It's free, it's thoughtful, and it occasionally makes sense.